Alright, developer log for February 2024. So actually got a lot of work done this month. I've continued work on the shields. You can actually now see that there is a shield UI around me because currently I have shields. I've also added a shields graphics for when enemies get hit, so they now have a shield outline. So both the robots have this and humans have this as well. If I restart the game, I actually have a lot of batteries that I can pick up. So there's also a sound effect that plays when you are getting your shields. I've also added a sound effect when your armor breaks. I can't really showcase that right now, so I'll just leave it at that. It's basically just a little bit of a rip and smash sound when your armor gets destroyed. So I have a nice audio cue for that as well. Another thing that I have done in terms of changes this month was I added finally proper hair textures. So the hair in the game really looked like straw for a very long time. So what I've done is I bought a hair asset that had very good textures, and I then used those textures to make. I mean, I had to pretty much remake all of the hairstyles, but that was fine. So all of the hairstyles are now remade, and they look vastly better than it looked before. I actually still have the old hair in the game still. Usually I remove everything immediately, but yeah. This is the one that's currently the only one that has physics. So the hair has increased in poly count significantly. So currently Neo Tokyo is the only one that has hair physics, and Cyber Hair Day. This was actually the hairstyle that I bought. So, well, since I bought it, I might as well put it in the game as well. So yeah, that's now in here as well. I can show the differences. So ashes, so player, hair upgrade. So I'll grab the one that I bought since that one shows it off the best. So these are the new hair, shader, the new hair textures, which are so much better than the old one. So I now use these to make new hairstyles again. This one is the best one to show it off. I can also show you from Tokyo is probably the best one that I've made. Yes, this is a reference to another character from the game. You can take a guess which one. Actually, to be fair, there are two. Oh, well, this one gives it away in the name, but yeah, both this and Neo Tokyo are hairstyles of other female characters from other games. So yeah. Yeah, vastly better. I can actually go to the old one, showcase that. So this was the old hair. So you can just see the difference. So this was the old hair, and then these are the new hair textures. It is a lot better, especially around here. Like if I showcase the edges, it's just a lot softer and more random, which gives it less of that straw look. Yeah. Oh, especially here. I mean, compare the divide here to the divide here. Oh, God, this was so awful. Yeah, so the hair is finally great. Also, I've gotten a lot better at like using the hair tool of Blender, which I constantly have to relearn because I don't actually work on hair that often. So every time when I work on hair again, I have to relearn how the hair tool works for Blender. But hopefully I should probably just make more hairstyles from time to time. Like they're pretty quick to make, and just so I can stay fresh and so that next time I don't have to. Next I don't have to relearn it again. So yeah, another thing that I've done is I've worked on another big issue with the game, which is visibility of enemies is sometimes just terrible. So what I am now using is I'm now using fake light. So fake lighting can be done in two ways. You can use it either a skylight or you can use a post-process. I mean, I have discovered you can also use a post-processing. So a skylight is this. So you can see that the entire map just lit up because I just added a fake light to the scene. So everything's now fake lit. The problem is this skylight sucks. You can only have one skylight in the scene at the same time, otherwise the game starts crying. So that is a huge limitation, and that limitation just ruins it. Another annoying thing is that it often... So what is supposed to happen during the lighting baking phase is it should bake a light mask map where if in 3D space, where it basically tells how lit up the character should be. The problem is I found out that it mostly just renders the character too dark, which means the characters often just disappear in the background. So what I am now using instead of skylights, so I've removed all the skylights and I now just use post-processing. So I'm just gonna make this box bigger. So this is a much better solution. So I have pretty much every map has a map preset. So right now I have a map preset with a post-processing effect that's basically global. So this is a global post-processing effect that works over the entire map. And I can then override that post-processing effect with another post-processing volume. So per volume, so if I want a volume to be darker, so let's say I want something to be lighter or darker, or have like a special color, then I can do that. So what I then do is I go to ambient cube map. I then select a neutral cube map. I can then give the tint and intensity. So let's say I want a blue. Let's say I have a blue level with a lot of blue assets, and I want to have a blue hue around there. So now you can see is that in this area I now have blue. So I probably should have put in some effort to make a good example. But you can do a lot of very nice things with this. So if you have a lighter environment, you can put a lighter fake lighting in it, and it looks completely natural and fine. So and yeah, the more different of these volumes you add in every map, the more dynamic the map feels in terms of lighting. Now there is a big downside to using this system, you can already tell, is that it also lights up distant areas that should not be lit up. So you have to kind of use them smartly. So when you use this, you kind of want to have like a room or a corner so you can't see the rest of the level like light up. That's kind of weird. You only really want light in that general area. But quite frankly, most people won't realize. Also, I usually don't have ambient light this bright. Usually it's like something like 0.2 with a high saturation. Actually, I generally just keep intensity at 1 and then I'll darken it here. So let's say I want to have a red tint in an area, I can just do something like this. Just have a gentle red tint. So this is now the red tint area. And if you go into it, it's now red. So yeah. So that's now how I do lighting, and it has significantly improved visibility. I noticed that it works much better on enemy characters, so they are much better, so they can be seen much easier. I still have to fine tweak a lot of the levels to make it look better. I also have I have my fake global illumination that I also need to get to work with that. I'm not going to go into detail, but I use a fake illumination system that basically checks the amount of light sources that my character can see, and then based off those light sources it will adjust the ambient fake lighting to make things dark. So if you shoot out all the lights, you don't get fake lighting anymore. All of the light disappears and you have complete darkness, which you can also do. Like one of the great examples for what that you can do is, like, let's say this room here was completely dark, like there are no light sources that could reach it. You obviously then don't want any light, so what you can then do is get a post-processing effect. So this is the last thing I'll show with post-processing. Glow. No, don't type anything, just there. So I can just make it black. Then let's make the box shape a bit bigger. There you go. And then the fake light. So let's say you want a really dark area with no lighting, you can just make a dark cube map. And then, yeah. So that's a nice way to do complete darkness in a level. If you want complete darkness, is just have a cube map that's just completely black. Another nice thing you can do with post-processing effects is, let's lighten this up again, is add lookup tables for color. So if you want to have like a really cool effect, post-processing volume settings. There are so many settings, like it's crazy. So I actually bought a lookup table pack for very, very cheap. So I often use that. It is in the LUT. So let's say I want to have cinematic effects. So an azure film, like you can see, like. So if I want some cinematic lighting, very easy to do. So yeah, this is just built-in Unreal stuff that I'm now making full use of to just have better lighting, better visibility. Yeah. So these changes of like, so another thing that I've done is I've changed the algorithm that spawns the recovery items. I don't know what you call it. I call it the blue shell items, you know, comeback items. That's what I should call it. So the comeback. So if your character is really hurt, so let's say God mode, toggle God mode. So toggle God 1, so I still can get hurt but I don't die. 26 is good to showcase. So let's grab a shotgun. Actually no, I should grab a long range weapon. Plasma rifle. So yeah, I already said last month that the comeback items, the items that spawn when you're low on health for enemies, was a bit too... the curve was too harsh. So I've now made it a more quadratic. I spawned the wrong enemy. Oh. So the current formula is, I actually can't remember. So if I can remember correctly, I think the current function I use for comeback items is x times, I think 0.1. So you have this flat so as you get more and more hurt, so as you get more hurt, you get this flat increase. And then you also have your x power of 2 in between brackets, and then divide by 1.1, and then you can get back at actually I think, oh, did I use 4 or did I use 1? I actually can't remember if I used 4 or 2. Actually I think I used 4. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I used 4. Okay, yeah, this looks correct. So originally with only the X is 4, actually I can show that because I can show multiple graphs. Fuck. Come on. X power of, yeah, I have my microphone in front of me, so it's kind of difficult. So yeah, X power of 4. This was how comeback items used to drop. So you didn't really. So this is how hurt you are. So if you're at 1, you're basically at 0 health. This is at full health. So as you get more hurt, you have more chances to get a comeback item. This X power 4 was just way too harsh. Like during playtesting, I just never got comeback items when I wanted to, and it was really only when I was near death that I ever saw comeback items, and usually that was too late. So now you get them a bit more often. And then so yeah, so this little increase on like this part of the range makes all the difference, and I found this to be the most natural drop rate for comeback items that spawn for enemies. So yeah, that was a bit of a mess in explaining it. I'm probably gonna cut a bit of way. So yeah, the rest is just level design, and I'm really gonna keep it to that. I will be working on doing an update for the demo to have these improvements, because these are pretty significant improvements, the visibility and the comeback items, because they just help with the game. It really has improved the gameplay. Also, there are a bunch of AI improvements. Oh, and one final thing I can also talk about is, I think I didn't explain this last time, I fixed the issue where I get stuck on certain geometry with my new step movement. So last time I showed that these specific geometry caused my step height code to bug out. This has now been fixed. I'm not gonna, it's a bit too complicated on exactly how it works, because everything surrounding movement code is complicated. So yeah, that's also fixed. So yeah, improvements to movement, improvements to AI, improvements to visibility, improvements to overall gameplay with the comeback items. And these improvements will all come in future updates soon on the demo that is on Steam. And I'm really gonna keep it to that. So yeah, goodbye.